Today I will be talking about errors in general, but also specifically error in medicine and healthcare. And errors are undesirable. Errors makes us very, very uncomfortable. Errors are not something that anybody wants, obviously. But my goal today is to discuss the possibility and to kind of show you guys that errors are not something we should be afraid of. Errors create amazing opportunities for us to improve and just become better. More importantly, for some of us, is that errors are opportunities to actually fix problems in the healthcare industry, which can translate to millions and billions of dollars in opportunities. So listen up. Now, we have a culture in society, in families, in relationship where we tend to use errors as something that we don't want to happen. We hide it. We sometimes use it actually as a thing to be vindictive. Oh well, you did that, and you put the milk, you didn't put it in the fridge, and now it's bad. Or we don't want it to happen. We become very obsessive about not committing errors because we feel like, well, I failed. Well, in this organization, I can tell you that we do have a culture of open communication, which means when errors do happen, we make it easy for people to own up to those errors without fear of punishment or repercussions. We simply want an honest discussion about what happened and how we can prevent it from snowballing into something more catastrophic. It's really that simple. Unfortunately, I'm noticing that even in my organization, that they're still afraid, and especially the new people, they're still afraid of, well, something happened, I saw something happen, or I did something wrong and I'm afraid. Well, don't be. In fact, if you're afraid of owning up to your errors and you're hiding them, you're most likely not going to survive in this organization. So easy for us to just bring it up, discuss it, find better ways to improve outcomes. So for the specific discussion about medical errors and the impact of medical errors and what it can translate to, I'm going to be a Mandalorian and I'm going to sit down. Okay? Medical errors cost millions and millions of lives. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is. So I don't want to stress you guys out. I don't want to increase your anxiety, but medical errors are very important. There was a study published by the Institute of Medicine in the US that talks about close to 15 million deaths in the US are related to medical errors. So there's a significant impact that this has. But it's also the funny side of errors in healthcare is one error doesn't necessarily result in a catastrophic event. There's something called the Swiss cheese theory, in which all the holes in a Swiss cheese, if you're a cheese lover, is they really have to align. Like you really have to go through one hole, which is an error, and that has to go align with another error and another error and another one in order for you to have a very bad outcome. So I see this as an opportunity for us to prevent bad outcomes. The whole point of this conversation is, how do we reduce errors in order to have a better outcome? Or we can say, how do we get better outcomes by mitigating, reducing errors, preventing them from happening, identifying them, discussing them, and not letting them snowball into a bad outcome. So that's simple. So the Swiss cheese theory. So when an error happens, we really have to stop. We really have to acknowledge it happened. We also have to think about the possible forward impact of this error. What else can happen if this happened? And what else can happen that will result in a bad outcome? So how do we reduce that? It's really very simple. We have to assume that errors are gonna happen. It's human. Murphy's Law. If something's gonna break down, it will break down. Just wake up in the morning, stop singing and saying, oh, it's gonna be a beautiful day, because bad stuff will happen. You gotta be ready for it. So when bad stuff happen, we have to have a system which is a system that's doing stuff, but we also have another system that is scanning for error. We have to almost like a redundancy. In computer science, they call it cyclic redundancy, checksum, verification, and so on and so forth, in which as the process is happening, there has to be a parallel pathway that is scanning the outcomes and the steps of that system to make sure that errors are detected earlier, they're corrected before bad stuff happens. So in summary, errors are inevitable in any organization, in any complex systems like healthcare. It's gonna happen. It's important for us to acknowledge that they're inevitable. It's important for us to understand that errors in general, especially in healthcare, have significant negative impact on human lives, on the quality of health, as well as the quality of services that we provide. It translates into death, poor patient satisfaction, high cost, bad outcomes, simply. Since they're inevitable, we have to identify them, we have to acknowledge them, we have to discuss them openly without fear of punishment. And we also have to have systems in place to make sure that those errors are detected earlier and they're not allowed to snowball into bad outcomes. Thank you.